Welcome to MagicGatheringStrat. I'm Dan, and this is the Top 10 Magic the Gathering podcast, September 13 edition. Next one will be in December. This is how you contact us. These are also the links to the June article and the April video for this list. So, what we're trying to do here is to rank the best Magic podcasts. We are only looking at podcasts that have done 11 episodes and that have at least done one episode in the last calendar year. There's a tiebreaker use, but it hasn't been used this time because we only use it for the top 10. And the top 10s all differentiated on points. Please excuse my English, I'm Swedish, so that's why I speak English like a drunk Viking. We have a jury. I'm not sitting here making this up like I did at the beginning. We do have a jury, and we have a new jury member. Welcome, Tangent. Tangent is the writer of MTG Hero for GatheringMagic.com. He also co-hosts Public Enemies MTG podcast. And he has a website called TangentRevolution.com. I will get back to how we treat our own podcast, because since last time I have also become a podcast host of the competitive Paupercast. So who are the jury then? It's me, it's Matti Paola from Finland, Will from the US, and Tangent from the US. Each jury member votes on 15 podcasts. We do want more jury members. If you know that you listen to too many Magic podcasts, you have to listen to at least 15 regularly. That's why it's so hard to find jury members. Send me a message, because we need more jury members. The fact that we have increased by one means that it is a shake-up, and I love it because then the podcast gets to move around. But some podcasts also have improved a lot for the last 3 months. So I think 3 months is a good. It's like this show should be done every 3 months. So that's why we're going for December for the next one. Only 3 podcasts got votes by all the members, which is quite significant, and they all placed quite highly. We do podcasts, and Matti is the moderator for the People to the People forums. So for these podcasts, we will not vote ourselves. So Tangent will not be voting for Public Enemies MTG. Me and will not vote for Competitive Paupercast, and Matti won't vote for People to the People. We found that is the best way to handle it. Well, it's time to get down to business. 32 podcasts received votes this time. And here they are. I don't know if you can read this, but I'll start from the bottom. At 30th place then, because I didn't use the tiebreakers for these that are not on the top 10. Just Another Magic Podcast, The Show of Feast and Famine, Top 8 Magic. 29th place, Planeswalkers Asylum. 27th, Horde of Notions. I have a comment about Horde of Notions here from Tangent. He says that it's a very good casual MTG podcast with one of the most infamous personalities in MTG, Chris Lansdell. Very good guests, including Patrick Chapin and John Finkel. Also 27th step, At Your End Step, Nerdivores. No, not Nerdivores. There are 5 podcasts sharing the 22nd place. They got 4 points. The Mana Pool, Magic the Amateuring, Commander Cast, Scrubland, and Nerdivores. You will find that the number in parentheses is their place in the last list, the June list. Yeah, moving up, 21st place, Delving into Draft. 20th place, Freed from the Reel. We have a comment on Freed from the Reel from Tangent. He says that the MTG Online podcast, created by the late Eric, aka Hamstastic. Podcast discusses upcoming MTGO events as well as financial side of online Magic. Very good for just Magic Online. I like to see more Magic Online casts, but Freed from the Reel is definitely one of the best. 19th place, Third Power. 18th place, Joy of Cubing. 17th place, East West Draftcast. 16th place, Deck Tease. There's a comment on Deck Tease as well. Tangent says, Erin Campbell has created the best MTG interview podcast around. She isn't afraid to ask the controversial questions. I bet she isn't. And has a very no bullshit personality. She has interviewed a number of MTG celebrities, including Mr. Finkel. 15th place, Mid-Range Magic. 14th place, Serious Vintage. And you'll notice the points increasing a lot when we get to the higher places. And 3 podcasts just missed out on the top 10 list. Drive to Work, Mark Rosewater's Making Magic podcast, Tap and Sack, and JudgeCast. We have a comment on JudgeCast. These guys get together to break down the rules of MTG each week and answer listener questions. A very solid cast of DCI judges with extensive rules knowledge. I think JudgeCast has a special place in the podcast world because it is definitely the rules podcast. If you like Magic rules, listen to it. It's amazing, actually. But what's even more amazing are the top 10 podcasts. So let's get down to it. In 10th place, with 22 points, used to be on 7th place, so dropping a little. In Contention. Talked about In Contention quite a bit in earlier shows, so we'll skip that today. 9th place with 23 points. So many insane plays. Used to be in 6th place. 8th place, Pauper to the People. 26 points. With Pauper's Cage rarely putting out shows, Pauper to the People has reclaimed this spot as the top Pauper podcast. Now, I'm going on Pauper to the People next week. And we work quite closely with the competitive Paupercast and Pauper to the People. Pauper to the People is the casual cast, and we are the Spike cast. But I don't even know if Tanya knows exists at this point. We are fairly new. We are shooting episode 6 this week. But now I'm talking about myself instead of Pauper to the People. There was a change of hosts very recently in Pauper to the People, and I'll get back to that actually. Glory Seekers is at number 7, comes up from number 15 with 28 points. Big jump, big leap up. Tangent says, a relatively new podcast, but has gained a lot of respect throughout the community. The podcasters are competitive players discussing tournament level Magic. So, 6 more podcasts to go. Here's another climber. Monday Night Magic, 29 points. Tangent says, Monday Night Magic, not what it once was when Tom was hosting it. It's still a very solid MTG news podcast. Shu has done his best to carry on with the tradition of the podcast in Tom's absence. And I found a special place in my heart for Monday Night Magic. I think this is so lighthearted, but is sort of in the way of Magic the Amateuring, but there's still a lot of useful information. It's like, yeah, it's MTG news, but it's delivered in such a funny way that this has grown on me a lot since last show actually. So I really like Monday Night Magic now, and I know we are now on MTG Cast. I'm talking about competitive Paupercast again. Sorry, and on iTunes. So I know that Chewy lets new podcast hosts come on, so I should probably try to get on Monday Night Magic. On 5th place, also a leaper. Heavy Meta moves up from the 11th place with 40 points. Heavy Meta, combination of MTG news and drunken humor. Despite the vulgar nature of the podcast, it has quickly become one of the most loved podcasts in the community due to the chemistry of its co-host and the crazy antics of Heavy Metal. My best friend is very much like Heavy Metal, so I like him. Also fun show, and a wide variety of guests add to the entertainment. Heavy Metal is growing, and I think they have found the balance there. And if you listen to Heavy Meta and Brainstorm Brewery going to GP Vegas, it's epic. It's really, it's very good stuff. And fuck you, San Diego. In fourth place, another climber, and the biggest climber, or at least the climber that climbed the highest this show. Pidim's podcast at 46 points. Does not like to be compared to Heavy Meta, I learned on Twitter. Tangent says, Angelo and Will have created a very solid podcast filled with tournament breakdowns and meta-analysis over multiple formats. They have also created the Pidim's Posse, which is a thriving community of Pidim's followers. What they do so good. They have improved a lot. They were good before, but now they're even better. What place were they in before? God damn it, why haven't I noted that? I think it was 9th. Anyway, they report from tournaments and they report more like a sports show. Very, very unlike all the other podcasts, and they really found a way to do this. So, good work, guys. And Angelo, I still want my Drunkcast video. The top 3 podcasts, and if you follow this show, you will know now that the top 3 podcasts are the same as they have been, as they were last time. But there are some changes. So in number 3, we find Brainstorm Brewery, 51 points. They do Magic Finance. They do a lot of other stuff. I actually loved the brew show where they discussed beer and even beer finance, which felt a bit stretched. But so they do a lot of other stuff, and I think I would love to see a sort of 100% finance show, really hardcore spike finance. But there is no such show, so Brainstorm Brewery rules the finance world. As Will said, best finance cast out there. Love pick of the week. Tangent says, these guys really know their stuff and are able to enjoy some good brews while they discuss a variety of financial topics. The hosts work very well together, and they really do. Great chemistry on the show, and they make the show quite fun. So Brainstorm Brewery, but they fell from 2nd place to 3rd, being replaced by the former 3rd place podcast. The A-Team, 62 points. That's 11 points more than Brainstorm Brewery this time. So, and it's Will and Tangent's favorite podcast. Easily the best podcast out there. Super high level magic. And Tangent says, solid group of personalities mesh very well together. They have built a huge following of loyal fans and have been the inspiration for many other podcasts. There are variety podcasts which primarily focus on competitive magic, with Jay Bush casual banter thrown in for entertainment. Yeah, it's it's a major podcast, but I feel it falls way behind the number 1 podcast, and the number 1 podcast has actually, in my own opinion, improved significantly since last time. Improved a lot. All due then to Brian Wong. 80 points for limited resources. And I think that they brought in the fact that Brian Wong is an even higher level limited player than the earlier hosts, who have all been very good. And his ability to express himself and convey stuff. I am primarily on Magic Online a financial person, and Brian Wong's financial analysis was better than anything Brainstorm Brewery ever put out, actually. I think Brian Wong's Going Infinite episode is the best financial podcast I ever heard. Because it was so concrete, it was so spiky, it was like, do this, do this, do this, I do this because of this. And I love Brian Wong's ability to communicate his extremely high skill level. And Marshall, of course, has been our podcast host of the month several times. But Tangent says Marshall and Brian Wong have one of the longest running and most professional podcasts in the MTG podcast community. Their limited Magic information has helped many players improve their games, and their set reviews are legendary. But if you listen to limited resources only for the set reviews, I think you're missing something, really. I think other shows are a lot better, like the Sideboard show. Well, many of Brian Wong's shows have been very, very good. But he's not the featured host this month. Every month we select one podcast host and feature him. This is not a voting thing. It's an honor we give to people, and we would give it to Marshall Sutcliffe every month, but we can't do that because that would be boring. So this time we honor Chris Plummer, who has stepped down as the host of Pauper to the People. He is like now the shadow godfather kingpin of Pauper to the People that don't appear on the host but do a lot of other stuff. And the Twitter monster of Pauper to the People. Nate Youngkin is the new host, and we give this award to this honor to Chris Plummer because he has a clear structure in his shows most of the time. He was the voice of Pauper in the podcast community and really one of the driving forces behind raising awareness about the format. And he did improve. He made 123 episodes, and you will notice how good he is at the end. He has always supported communities, always friendly, always helping people out. He has helped us out a lot with competitive Paupercast. And in a situation where Pauper to the People could have viewed us as competitors and tried to compete with us, he was always super helpful instead. So that's why Chris Plummer is the podcast host of the month. I said host now and not hose. What did we miss? Let us know. Give us comments or on YouTube or on Pure MTGO. If you tell us to listen to the show, we will. If you feel that it should be on this list and isn't. If you want to be on the jury, let me know, because I preferably would like at least 5 or 6 members on the jury. But I know that I'm making high demands on the jury members, so it's not for everyone. And here are the ways to contact us. Thank you for watching the Top 10 Magic Podcasts September 2013 edition. See you in December.